Okay. This video wasn't planned at all, but I just gotta get my hype in the air because, oh my god, Kung Fu Panda is pretty epic, if I can't say the very least. So like y'all, I was pretty ecstatic to hear that Kung Fu Panda 4 was announced to come out next year. That was pretty much it. But then we got some news over at CinemaCon that revitalized some of my hopes and dreams for this new sequel, because it just sounds so good! And reminder, this is for funsies, so don't take this as, this movie is gonna be bad if it doesn't do any of these things, because it's Kung Fu Panda, and I'm honestly not that hard to please. And also, if you wanna go completely blind, just stay away from this video in general, because I will be ruining the general premise, in case you might wanna keep that a secret until the trailers, or God forbid, until the movie comes out. Alrighty, hope number 1. They do more or rely on experimental animation for this movie. Kung Fu Panda has been a franchise known to dabble in different styles for its animation besides the typical style that you do see. And every movie has always made an incredible leap in terms of quality, from the first to the second, and the second to the third, and that's been with a consistent 4-year gap in between movies. With the new film coming out, that's a whopping 8 years after the third. That, alongside the fact that DreamWorks overall is being more experimental in terms of what 3D is capable of in their movies, like in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish or The Bad Guys, and the renaissance of stylized 3D that started out with Spider-Verse, it's pretty much expected that Kung Fu Panda 4 is going to do some pretty cool stuff, especially with the fact that how much the franchise has been respectful to both Chinese culture and mythologies. Why not utilize Chinese brushstrokes or Chinese art in general? That'd be wicked. I love to see an extension of that first movie's opening because, ooh, that's so good. Hope number 2. They do something cool with the villain's powers. This is really stretching it because we don't even know all the details about said villain. Heck, we don't even know their appearance or who's voicing them. But in CinemaCon, it was announced that the villain, the Chameleon, is going to have the power to bring back villains from the past. That's honestly a really fun opportunity that I think was a bit squandered in the third movie. Like, Kai had the ability to use any Kung Fu master at his beck and call, and you're not gonna use Oogway or Tai Lung, people that both Shifu and Tigers have personal relationships and history with? Even when you have Tai Lung right there? So with this opportunity, I'm excited to see this. Now, the only question is, what color are we going to use to associate with the chameleon? Tai Lung was blue, Shen was red, Kai was green, so maybe purple? Or maybe orange, who knows? But what if it's just not past villains in the movie, but other villains that Po has faced that we haven't seen before? Like, come on, you could pull a funny scene of past villains having beef with Po for whatever reason or another. Or maybe just do what Puss in Boots did and just showed how these villains died in the first place. Plus, it'd be more interesting in terms of action scenes and conflicts. I just worry that they'll focus too hard on the villains returning as its main draw and stealing the spotlight from the chameleon when they should be the definitive threat of the movie. As well as have some form of personal beef with Po, specifically other than stopping him from what they want to do. If anything, I like to see this movie give closure to said villains in a nice way, as to show how Po personally growed from each movie. But of course, that means that the villains actually need some form of sentience and remember the beef they had with Po. Otherwise, they're just gonna be like the zombies again. Please don't do that. Please don't do zombies again. Hope number 3. Pull a Shrek the Third.
This is literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I know. The third movie sucks. The second is peak. We all know this. But the plot for this movie sounds pretty damn close to Shrek the Third. Our main character is being promoted to a certain role, and so that character must go out and find a new person to fill a specific role due to one aspect or another. And the main thing, and the thing that I'm definitely stealing from Scriphyllis's video on Shrek the Third, is the idea of taking what the main character has learned and applying that to another character who has the same insecurities. Again, all we know is that Poe's supposed replacement is a fox thief, but I can't see why insecurity of not living up to a legend or wanting to change who they are can't apply here. There could be a nice scene of Po trying to figure out the right words to say and build up a sort of confidence, relaying what the third movie was saying with, "I don't need you to be like me, I gotta teach you to be you." Like, come on, how funny would it be for Po to give this fox the dragon scroll, only for her not to understand the metaphor, just like Tai Lung? Oh god, please make the fourth movie stand alone, please! And I don't mean make the movie stand alone from the other movies. I just mean don't use anything from the TV or web series and have that carry over to this movie. Because not only does it make audiences have to engage with other materials to understand what they're watching, as with the case with The Dragon Prince, and probably why I have not seen that fourth season yet, but also just don't do anything from The Dragon Knight. That show, I can argue, is somewhat good, but the lore and overall use of the world building in that show is messed up as hell. One day I'll talk about it more, because god, it's such an interesting table talk. But I'll just say one thing that'll ruin this film if they include Dragon Knight lore. Other countries do exist, and Kens are a thing in Dragon Knight. If you're a Kung Fu Panda fan, you'll know which one of these is the uh-oh part. And for the extra dense, it's not the other country's part. Or I guess it is if you're xenophobic. Hope number 5. Maybe do something with Tai Lung? One aspect that I do find rather interesting is how the fandom has really grown for Tai Lung, more so than any other villain out there. I think that's part to do with how he's ultimately a tragic character that was partly influenced by outside forces. Like, Lord Shen and Kai were always kind of jerks. They were complex jerks, but at the same time, you couldn't really empathize with any one of them because they were awful people. But Tai Lung wasn't always the threat that he was, and it's to the point that maybe doing something more for him in this fourth movie could be interesting to see. Some people say that he should have been the next Dragon Warrior after receiving a redemption arc, and I don't know if I really gel with that idea as much as Po trying to help someone with similar experiences as him, but I do really like the idea of giving the character closure and maybe have him realize that he truly wasn't meant to be the Dragon Warrior. It could be a nice callback to the first movie and a good send-off to end the franchise if it does end here. I don't really know if you could do the same for any of the other villains since they seem so dead set in their ways. Like, how do you really go about it? Hey yo, I'm sorry for genociding your entire population, that wasn't really coolio of me if you catch my drift. And Kai has been doing what he's been doing for practically centuries. I don't think you're gonna Steven Universe that guy anytime soon. But, at the other hand, Po has the chance to do the funniest thing ever.
You wanna see me do it again?
Uh-oh.
Hope number 6. Do more with the action, please. There's been this recent trend in the action scenes declining in quality, and that's not to say bad. I do prefer the action in the second film more than the first, after all, but I can't argue with the fact that Kung Fu Panda 3 did sort of drop the ball in the action, since there was so little of it in that movie. Like, look there. Prime opportunity to have a cool fight scene with multiple different fighting styles and show Kai being cool on a unique setting. But no, I guess we're not doing that today. Okay. And don't you dare say budget because these movies make bank in the box office. I think DreamWorks would have been okay with shelling out a little bit more money on that. With the fact that we'll at least have 3 different opponents, assuming the chameleon may or may not be a fighter, it'd be nice to see the action be in the forefront again and give us some really cool set pieces, and something other than the characters fighting amongst each other. What made the first 2 films so cool was the fact they were so varied. Chase scenes, a prison escape, fighting on a bridge, fighting on boats to get to the end, playing keep away. All of these were fun, and I hope the fourth is on that same caliber. Well, I guess that's my hopes and dreams. Whoop, now all I gotta do is wait and see my hopes and dreams eventually get shattered. If you have any hopes and dreams, leave them down in the comments because I do read them all. And I do like them, so yeah. Also, you know there's gonna be so much furry art, this new female fox thief. DreamWorks literally did that last year, and people still won't shut up about her.